since 1975, I start. My broken English, okay? You understand? Oh, raise hand. Those who understand English. Okay. So, some ladies outside. You are not allowed. Come in. Oh, you have one lady here. Oh. So since 1975, I was some sort of, or say, sermon at Sanat. So then I start on my sort of work in order to promote religious harmony. The very day, first I went small mosque at Sanat Himra, or Varanasi. No. Then one Hindu temple, one church, Christian church. Then, of course, one Buddhist temple, one Sikh Gurdwara. So since then, whenever I have the opportunity, I pay respect to all different, also the spiritual centers. And then, of course, in Delhi, Kasa, Masjid, Jama Masjid, yes, a few occasions. I want to share one story. In Delhi, one conference, mainly I think the diplomat of different Muslim countries, and then some local Muslim priest in Delhi. And then after our meeting, we went to Jama Masjid, you see, and there I wear the white hat, and then pray together. Then next day, many newspapers, you see, carry the picture, Dalai Lama, white hat, and like this. I little bit sort of concerned or worried. Oh, what reaction from Hindus? Then I inquire some my friend. They say, many Hindus, after seeing that picture, they really feel very happy. Dalai Lama made some contribution. The community, different faith, closer. So then, in many different countries, whenever you see opportunity there, I carry this practice. In order to show in the eyes of public, yes, different name of religion, different way of prayer, and certainly different philosophical views, but all helping humanity. So therefore, I always, since 75, I practice that. Only one problem is one time in Jordan, No, not Jordan. The Nigeria. Oh, firstly, I think the Jerusalem. Oh, the ancient Christian church and Wailing Wall. Again, I practice to see that. Firstly, Wailing Wall, and according to Judaism, you see, those Jewish, you see, they put something here, and then I think similar, we do when they pray, like that. They are very serious. Then one ancient, I think, Syrian Christian church or something. Then the rock where I think Muhammad, I think went to heaven or something. Around a rock, isn't it? They are in Jerusalem. No? Oh. So there, you see, I asked the caretaker of the temple. I asked him whether may I put one scarf. Then he said, no. This is one thing. One occasion, one incident. Then Nigeria, actually, the previous day, I met the head of the Christian community there, or Christian church. Muslim church. And then I usually do pilgrimage to different, the holy places of different tradition. So here also I want to pay my sort of respect to the mosque. Because of the size of the Kare, such means to give it. Lagos, because the capital of economy, not political capital. Abuja, maybe Abuja.
Abu Dhabi.
No. The name of the city, one big city, not the capital. Or anyway, you see, then he, the leader of the Muslim sort of church, that particular area, he, after I expressed that, he very much pleased. And then tomorrow, next day, he will join with me the pilgrim to the mosque. Then when I reached there, the mullah was, what do you call it? Mullah, already there. He received me. Is he ready to enter the mosque? But some young Muslim, I think maybe 10, 15, you see, they stand in front of the door. They do not want me allowed inside the mosque. Then okay, I don't want to disturb. Then say, thank you. then shake hand, and has a hug with the mullah. And then I left. These two instances, a little bit disappointment, but doesn't matter. You see, initial stage, you see, people have some feeling of distance. Similarly, one Hindu temple in Orissa, Puri, Jagannath Puri. There also, you say, I want to pay my sort of prayer there. Then they say, only Hindu. So, there are such things. So therefore, you see, such as traditions there. Now time come, we must make effort, you see, to reduce that kind of hardliner, narrow-mindedness. Yes, in the philosophical fields, there's big differences. As far as differences in philosophical view within Buddhist, you see, I always mention Vibhashika is a school of thought, Sodhantic school of thought, Chittamantra school of thought, Madhyamika school of thought. All these, the Buddhist master, different school of thought. So different sort of views, different philosophy is helpful. You see, to help different people with different mental disposition. Therefore, now today, 7 billion human beings, over 1 billion non-believer. Then about 6 billion, you see, suppose believer. Of course, among believer, some mischievous believer also there. Not only Muslim community, but Christian, Hindus, Buddhists also. So, I think even Ladakh also, I think some Buddhists is a little bit mischievous. Too much sectarian. Okay, so that's understandable, no problem. So that's also reality. If that kind of reality is some help or no help, sorry, that kind of situation. No, this kind of situation is very harmful. If some sort of habit which exists among 6 billion believer, some unhealthy thing there, we must make effort to reduce this, or say the negative thing, and eventually, possibly eliminate. So therefore, we need such, or say the constant effort, you see, to bring harmony. So therefore, you see, I'm very, very happy. The other day, after my sort of pilgrimage to Chokang Buddhist temple, then Sunni temple and Shia temple. Now here, Thiksey here, you see the the temple. Oh, I'm very happy. Now, as you see, someone you see mentioned Rinpoche, you see, really make tremendous impact for religious harmony. It's wonderful, Rinpoche. Wonderful. Thank you. I hope you not become Muslim. If become Muslim, there's not much significance. Remain as a Buddhist, but really sincerely respect and sort of mutual respect, mutual admiration, and friendship. They're much useful, isn't it? So like that. So now here is a small community, but this is part of 1 billion Muslim on this planet. You are part of that. So certain activities, including revolution, you see, start from few individuals, then gradually, you see, becoming more significant movement and some change in the society. So similarly, as far as our harmony is concerned, we start from small community, then Kazoda spread, or larger, like that. So I believe that. So therefore, your sort of spirit or sense of spiritual brotherhood, sisterhood, you see, this wonderful. The other day I mentioned this is something like Norbu jewel, jewel. That's now light, grow, and eventually all over the world, you see that light should come. Should spread. So then the other day, I think you mentioned, person who believes certain faith, then must implement, practice. I think you mentioned. That's right. So that's very true. We Buddhists also. You see, sometimes, Buddhist masters, and frankly speaking, Buddhist, the Lama, like myself, sometimes, you see, utilize for different purpose. There must be in Ladakh also, you see, some Lama use their faith, in name of their faith, and manipulate. So then, that's actually not sincere religious practitioner. Once we follow certain faith, we must implement. And the message of that faith should become part of our daily life. So I always emphasize, firstly, I myself also, you see, trying to implement 24 hours about Buddha's teaching of compassion, teaching of forgiveness. Then, of course, very sophisticated, complicated philosophy. Every day, as soon as I wake up, I think, because I always think or remember, you see, these message of Buddha. And then 24 hours, including dream, you see, these practice always with me is where carried with me like that. So the practice is very, very essential. So follower of Islam, Quran, sincerely implement, practice. Then the essence is message of love, forgiveness. Some my Muslim friend, they told me, genuine Islam practitioner, they say never harm other people. If one Muslim, suppose a Muslim, create bloodshed, then in reality, no longer a genuine Muslim. And the meaning of jihad is not harming other people, but carry struggle within your own sort of what's the destructive emotion, combat. So wonderful. So last now few months, you see, in America, mainly in America, you see, some occasion I mentioned the media. Usually, you see, sort of what's the express Muslim terrorist, and then Buddhist terrorist in Burma, Buddhist terrorist. So I'm Buddhist. When they sort of sentence Buddhist terrorist, I feel uncomfortable. So similarly, Muslim terrorist, you see, certainly, you see, give you some uncomfortable.
Sir. Yes, sir.
So actually, those Buddhist or those of Islam background once committed terrorist activities, that essentially no longer Buddhist, no longer Islam. So, in the recent years, you see, in the West, some media sometimes you see create some kind of expression. Western civilization and Islam, some kind of clash. That kind of impression is very dangerous, very bad. So therefore, and then since September 11th event, few Muslim background, you see, they carry these sort of awful sort of activities. So since then, I come forward to defend Islam. Since then, many occasions, interfaith, I always defending the value of Islam. As I already mentioned, I always mention these things. So recently I mentioned, you see, the very word, the Buddhist terrorist and Islam terrorist is something wrong like that. So therefore, my part, since 75, I committed these sort of effort. Now, 81 year old, remaining my life, I committed. So please, you see, let us work together. You see, develop or promote religious harmony. Okay. So that's I want to tell you. Now time come to eat this. So thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Your Holiness, what is your opinion about cow protection group which is recently operating in India in the name of Cow Raksha? Is it proper that one section of a community dictate others what to eat and when to eat? Please, I want your opinion on this.
The other day, one Muslim student, he asked me one question. You see, Buddhist usually you see not killing animal. The Muslim eat or something in special day is a sacrifice animal. And then obviously the Mecca pilgrimage. You see, you have to sort of kill one animal. So you see, she asked me that, and then I told, yes, different tradition. Islam, you see, you believe Creator, Allah is Creator. The whole world created by Allah. So those animals, you see, created for human being. Oh. So you have your own sort of philosophical views. So accordingly, you carry that way. I answer that. So I think the Hindu family, the Muslim family, is a Muslim family. You see, killing some cows. To Hindus, the cow is something very sacred. There's a different tradition there, different religion there. You should accept there is differences. You have to respect it in their tradition. In reality, you see, whether you like it or not, the whole 7 billion human beings will not be Muslim. over, 7 billion human beings will not become Buddhist, will not become Hindu, will not become Christian. That's fact. Meantime, we have to live together, 7 billion human beings on this small blue planet. So if we sort of negative attitude to one another, then I think humanity may face more miserable sort of, their life. Nobody wants trouble. Nobody wants suffering. So it is much better to live together. In order to live together, you must respect others of tradition. That's my view. This is your main point, isn't it? Your question. Okay. Then sometimes politicians manipulate these things. That is up to them. We can't say. I think small example. I think Eid or some important day. You see, my place in Leh, Shivasar. You see, the whole night till midnight, little disturbance in my sleep. But then I think, I must respect their tradition. Like that, no problem.
Your visit in mosques, temples, Buddhist temples and Hindu temples creates harmony, especially in Leh. What are your advice about this harmony to the next generation, either Muslim next generation youths or Buddhist youths, for spiritual harmony?
The closer contact among the student of Muslim community, student of Buddhist community and Christian community. I hopefully occasionally come together and let them play together. There are some open discussions from childhood. Let them feel, this is my friend, like that. I think that maybe should not remain isolated. Now here I observed, I noticed Muslim of India, Muslim in Malaysia, Muslim in Indonesia, and Muslim in Arab, same Quran, same Muslim, no matter Shia or Sunni, same Muslim sort of Quran, like that. But because of the environment, Indian Muslim, I think so already knows where, familiar. There are other different traditions. And Malaysia also, large number of Buddhists, because there are many Chinese there, most of these Chinese are Buddhist. Chinese businessmen. So these are Buddhist and Buddhist temples there. So the Muslim there, familiar. And Indonesia, also large number of Chinese businessmen or Chinese community, and also historically once Buddhism very much flourished in Java, this area, Sumatra, I think, or this area. Whereas in Arab, a little bit isolated. So then the eyes of sort of those Muslim brothers, the sisters, a little bit isolated. Then other religion is something strange. So it is very important from childhood, let them know each other. I feel that. Then if possible, occasionally some discussions. That I feel. So now we have sort of sense of common responsibility, promotion of harmony. So in our generation, we start. Then the younger generation who have So closer feeling each other, that I think more harmony will continue. This is my view.
Lamas kundun diringa ngara etun lai ka tive khute jalten I jixten ka jide khonches yang ka skitpo dang jigdil lu shukse se fa ngara I mimas kun la chika sala lama ken
그래서 any chiglu nge thagin love sarji namju chajing esdo ore 따주부터 하면 면자요 ore 점된 데 전장 직주고 나는 얘네 면자 연구요 ore 데 편도요 ore 미 삼로 면자와라 데 편도요 ore 그래서 딱 따주 면자 디디기 그게 줍드르 가려서는 미스amba 상고 최고야 밀 샴페인으로 삼단 거야 밀은 너무 맞아서 찍버려도 와 그러나 지대 거버 되겠다 지대 거버 면등인지 딱 떠주고 사는 쉬우지 잡아요 그래도 딱 떠주 지대 거버 되겠는데 매우 가르스는 지대 거버 아니 천신 뇌배더니 하버도 옆에 세회더니 딘데티기 땅 아주 꿰버다서 저는 정신기 답에는 세회더니 아니 군조를 지금 군조 되긴 아주 꿰버 인도산에 sem단 예보 차지 엔 데이터네 시정 군조를 sem단 예보여 대체기 군조기 재순 잡아야지 군조기 재순 잡아야 돼 가르쳐서는 닝시전지야 돼 배야고도 와 so I want to express this through my broken English the this concept of creator I think very very powerful sort of concept. Once you accept, you see, creator. Firstly, the creator himself is infinite love. So we created by such sort of father, such sort of creator. So then automatically, you see, we should be more compassionate person because our creator is such infinite love. Almost like father, it's a son carry father's gene. So entire creature of Allah, creature of Allah or God or Ishvara, is all have, you see, the seed of compassion. So very powerful. Then as a Buddhist now, the Buddhist critics is just faith to creator. So then not fully utilize the potential of our intelligence. The Buddhists say no creator. You yourself, ultimately you yourself creator. So all responsibility is your own shoulder. You must utilize fully your intelligence. That's the Buddhist way. So some of the Buddhists in Tibet also, in the past, just a blind faith. Ladakh also, you see some people, you see just chaksal. So not use our intelligence. So you know, Kanjur Tenjur, you may heard. You see about 300 volumes. So most of these, volumes mentioning about the reality, very similar that of quantum physics, and then a lot of explanation about the human mind, human emotion. So therefore, you see, I'm Buddhist. I feel I really like, you see, these complicated philosophical views and study, thinking like that. Same time, you see, some people, you see, these complicated philosophy is not much of their interest. So single-pointed faith towards God, Allah. Wonderful. All these different way of approach, same goal, that is try to become compassionate person. Understand? Another thing, as I mentioned earlier, so 2 points. One, that's the practice of love is concerned like that. And then another thing, occasionally, some occasion, I met Christian nuns. And then one Christian nun asked me very seriously, sincerely, when people, you see, develop strong sort of sense of me, my, I, strong self-centered attitude, then what is the method to reduce that? She asked me that. Then I told that meeting, for Buddhists, you see, the concept of no soul, no self, that concept is supposed the antidote to extreme self-centered I, that. So those who see people who believe Creator, you also, you see, utilize that belief. Oh, I am very, very small particle of the creation. The whole universe created by God. And you see, this universe, this whole world, you see, created by God. You are insignificant, very small there. So think that it may, you see, help to reduce the self-centered I is something very big. Think that way, you become humble. You know, now modern scientists, some scientists, you see, they carry as some experiment, one cartoon, you see, two young children helping each other. Another cartoon, two children, negative attitude. That two cartoons show very, very young infant child, about 5 months old, language not yet developed. So then reaction from the child, infant to the child. I also participated in that meeting. So you see, I saw, you see, the picture, you see, when the cartoon, the more compassionate attitude showing to the child, smiling, that infant, very, very young child, smiling, enjoy. The other cartoon, little bit negative each other, that shows the child like that, unhappy sort of expression. And then more important, constant anger, constant hatred, fear develop, or constant experience is eating immune system reduce. So they say, conclusion is basic human nature is compassion. So now we can say, oh, certainly we are compassionate sort of sentient being because God created by God as the infinite love. So scientifically, they now consider human nature is more compassionate. Now from religious viewpoint, of course, it's because it's God, such infinite love, infinite compassion created. Now we are, I think, spiritual brothers, sisters, and quite sort of, I say, very close each other. So I want to suggest to you, generally people get the impression, like some other sort of religious tradition, that in Islam also you see a little bit of sort of discrimination, male and female. Actually, according to the Quran, Some my friend, you see, told me, you see, in Quran, some special sort of emphasis about the respect or the importance of female. I heard. Of course, firstly, I never know the Arab language, so I never sort of read. I think one Ladakhi Muslim, I think some Tibetan translation about Quran. So now in I will say I will check. So in any way, so therefore, I think the society as a social community, I think need a little bit more effort to bring equal male and female. Because you see, in Europe, in America, I often use it telling, when human being, human society, human being, species of human being start, I think I think the whole universe, you see, since this, you see, our sun, you see, come about 5 billions of years. Then living being, you see, started 1 billion years. So in early period of human community, no concept of leadership. Small community, small number, and each, you see, work together, share together. Then gradually farming system started and population increased. So then some sort of stealing or some sort of mischievous things, you see, happen. Then the concept of leadership come. At that time, no education. So in order to become leadership, physical strength is the only condition. Therefore, male dominance come. So eventually, in the society, male dominance. So even religious tradition also, you see, some sort of influence from the existing society sort of habit, male dominance come. Now Catholics also, you see, there are some because of male dominance. Male dominance, you see, there. Recently, some discussions about female bishop or something. There is, you see, some sort of discussion, some problems. To some extent, I think basically in Buddhism, much equal. Bhikshu and bhikshuni. But still, there's some slight sort of discrimination, male and female. So these, now time come, you see, have to think, modify. So the religious sort of structure, there are some impact of feudal system. These now must change. So like my own case, since last 4 centuries, Dalai Lama become head of both temporal and spirituality. My own case, at age 16, I took temporal responsibility. Then, soon after I took the responsibility, I start some reform. 1951, I took the responsibility. Then 1952 or 53, I set up one committee for reform, but not very successful because the Chinese, they want reform according their own way. So if reform carried by them, by Tibetans themselves, then they may feel, or it may become hindrance of their own way of reform. You understand? No? So then, 54, I went China, Peking. Then 56, came to India. Lot of trouble, very difficult. Only after 59, escaped, reached India. Then our whole sort of government structure, I start democratization. Then 2001, we already achieved elected political leadership. Since then, my position is semi-retired position. Then 2011, I totally retired. Not only myself retired, but also 4th-century-old tradition, Dalai Lama automatically head of both temporal and spirituality, now that cease voluntarily, proudly, happily. Now future Dalai Lama, even if future Dalai Lama come, no longer significance about political matter. So the Chinese government, you see, still they are thinking more orthodox way. Dalai Lama should be very important figure of politics. So they are very much concerned about Dalai Lama's reincarnation. I'm not much concerned. Chinese take more serious concern about Dalai Lama reincarnation. So I occasionally, you see, I mentioned to some Chinese friend, if you really have the sort of concern about Dalai Lama reincarnation, the first you should accept the theory of rebirth, reincarnation. Then you should recognize Chairman Mao Zedong's reincarnation. Then Deng Xiaoping reincarnation. Then you have, logically, you have right to concern about Dalai Lama's reincarnation. Otherwise, you see, illogical. So, in any way, so this, the Dalai Lama religious institution, certainly, you see, the feudal, some impact or some sort of impact about existing feudal system. Now feudal system is gone, outdated. Now time for democracy. That's very important. So therefore, I think religious institution which some sort of impact from feudal system, now that time come must change. So in any way, so male dominance, you see, come. Then modern education start. Education brings more equal. So in this country, like Indira Gandhi, female, very, very efficient sort of leader. And then Miss Thatcher. Now England new prime minister, also one lady. American president, next president, one lady come, or the other businessmen come. Nobody knows. So it brings, and Golda Meir, Israel. Oh, very, very able sort of lady like that. So therefore, now the German Chancellor, Angela Merkel, oh, very sort of, I think wonderful sort of leader. So education now brings more equal. Now that not sort of sufficient. Now time come. Existing education not sufficient. Now we must, make effort, promotion of love, compassion. In that respect, they scientifically say females physical, biologically more sensitive about others' pains, others' suffering. So now time come, the female should take more active role regarding promotion of love, compassion. So sometimes I really feel, and also express, about 200 nations. If majority of 200 nations leader take by female, maybe world become more safer. So therefore, I really feel, you see, the image of female, you see, should sort of should raised, not look, you see, female something low. I think now time changed, so we need some sort of effort, bring equal. That's I feel important. Of course, entirely up to you. I want to tease you. I want one occasion in Australia, you see, some television team, you see, come and ask me, do you believe the dinosaurs? Oh, I surprised. Of course, you see, the pictures there, the old sort of the bones or these things there. I surprised. Then later I was told, according Christian belief, you see, some Orthodox sort of believer, the world created by God only 5,000 years. So I think Allah also may be saved. How long since Allah created the world? How many years? Oh? Millions of years. Then okay. Or million, even I think extend or further billions of years. Then okay. So that's a little bit funny. Isn't it? You see, some Orthodox Christian, you see, they do not accept Darwin theory, evolution, like that. So this, as a Buddhist, you see, Buddhist literature mentioned Mount Meru, a world flat, and Mount Meru in the center, sun and moon, more or less same size, and go like that. I already rejected. You have liberty. You have to accept the reality. The scientist, without any belief, just investigate, calculate. So I believe, you see, their sort of perception, their finding is more sort of more accurate. So the one great Indian Buddhist master, Bosuband, you see, mentioned world flat in the center of Mount Meru. Then, with my salutation to that great master, I do not accept that. Now, our time, we need a special effort for promotion of love and compassion. So in that field, I feel female, biologically, more sort of potential to promote that.
Your Highness, we say that all religions are same, and we believe, but certain restrictions are put on every side. Say, for example, interreligious marriage. What will you advise?
I always feel, and also accordingly I express publicly, I think religious faith is more or less related with individual. So, for example, Buddhist community does not mean every member of that community should be Buddhist. It is more or less similarly now in the West, the society, Judeo-Christian background. But among them, you see, non-believer also there, some Muslim also there. So nowadays, some Buddhists also there. So the culture, I feel, is a culture of Islam. And the Islam religion, I think, should make because of the distinction. Right? I usually make that. Buddhist culture and Buddhism something different. Buddhist culture is concerned related with the community. Buddhism is mainly related with the individual. You may know, like Kasa Community Sam and Kasa Ladakh Hajingama Kasa Ming. No. The Hazayung in Kasa. Oh, now I can't remember. You see, some family, I think over a few centuries in Lhasa. Oh, I don't know. Oh, some you see Muslim since 5th Dalai Lama, you see already in Lhasa. So Dalai Lama government, you see, provided land for construction of a mosque. So my point is, you see, those Tibetan Lhasan Muslim, religiously Muslim, but their way of life very much in the spirit of Buddhist culture. As we already sort of mentioned the animal sacrifice when you take your pilgrimage Mecca like that. So once you see one Muslim, a Lhasa Muslim, you see, told me when he took pilgrimage to Mecca, and you have to sort of animal sacrifice, we have to do one sacrifice of one animal, and he expressed, oh, he feel very sorry to kill that animal. he feel very, very compassion like that. So that shows his Islam practitioner, but at the same time living in the community where you see very much sort of, or say they're talking about sacred, about every form of life like that. So this shows, you see, the Lhasan sort of Muslim community, religiously Muslim, but their way of life very much sort of related with Buddhist culture. So Western Muslim, even Western Buddhist, you see, their sort of way of life is very much Judeo-Christian sort of tradition like that. So actually one occasion in San Francisco, I invited by one Zen community, American. So they completely changed, you see, their dress and furniture. I told them, this is extreme. You see, you can practice Zen practice, that's okay. But your basic way of life should be American. Change like Japanese, you see, they cannot change their face. But only, you see, dress or this looks strange, like that. So therefore, you see, Islam culture, Islam religion. Now, of course, this is entirely up to you. I do not want to interfere in your sort of practice. But me personally feel marriage is personal matter. So one Muslim boy or girl marry with or Buddhist or Christian girls or boys will not damage Islam. Not serious. You see, two person, even you see one Buddhist family or what's it, a Muslim family. You see, one brother or one sister, one may have sort of more interest about Christian. Okay. One may have interest about Buddhism. Okay. That's my view. But that's my view. You see, I have no authority to do that. So entirely up to you. Anyway, now today, the 7 billion human beings, it's a different part of the world. It's a different sort of the community of different religious tradition there. So then 100% to isolate. Muslim should marry with Muslim. Buddhist should marry with Buddhist. Christian should marry Christian. And a non-believer should marry with non-believer. So, then that also, you see, I think some relation, color, or in Indian plain, caste system. Upper caste should not marry with low caste people. These are outdated, very bad part of feudal system. Must change. So recently I met some my Indian or Hindu or some Jains and also some Muslim. Now I'm publicly telling, now the religious leader should come out against the caste system. These are, I think, poor people from low caste. I think they really, many of them really facing miserable life. So Constitution provides equal. A democratic system also you see provide equality. The rule of law also you see give equality. Some of the century-old thinking caste system, and in America still the deep because of the emotion, the white and black. These are, I think, century-old some kind of the bad tradition. It impact in their mind. Now time come must change. What do you think? If you want, you see, marriage must be because of the same faith. Then, okay, then you should say to me, no, 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 no. Okay. I think these are 1,000-year-old narrow-minded. Now, these days in Europe, more and more now, particularly younger people, you see, they express one world, wonderful, and the global citizen, wonderful. So now time comes, we have to think about humanity. That is important. The religious faith and color and caste system, these not important, now must change. And the religions, as I mentioned earlier, all carry the message of love. That really we need. I think various different religious traditions, if you sincerely practice that, it's really very powerful method to strengthen or to keep our basic, our good quality, that's compassion.
Good morning. As you are well aware of the fact that the entire world is at the contemporary are facing terrorism. And terrorism is great threat to the world harmony. Similarly, if there is terrorism, there we can't talk peace in the world. What should we do to eliminate terrorism in the world?
I think eliminate these terrorist activities. I think even God or Allah also, or Buddha also failed to eliminate. So, I feel 20th century, I usually consider century of violence, century of bloodshed. So during 20th century, whenever some problem face or different interest, due to different interest, some problem come, then reaction is solving that problem by force. So First World War, Second World War, and even before, lot of bloodshed, even name of religion, Christian, Muslim, and I think Jews, and others like that. So I feel at the beginning of 21st century, now quite often you say terrorist. This, I feel, the negligence or mistake of 20th century. So now, from now on, if we make more effort, firstly, religious harmony, and secondly, promotion of basic human value, that is compassion, not through religion, but through education. From kindergarten up to university level, there should be lesson about moral ethics, not based on religious faith. Then it could be universally acceptable. If this sort of method about moral ethics based on religion, then now today, out of 7 billion, over 1 billion non-believer. So therefore, the secular education field, you see, there's certain the education based on religion is sometimes difficult. Like in America and Europe already, since French Revolution, the church and religion must be separate, isn't it? Like that. So therefore, now, so therefore, you see, since these very, very unhealthy violence or event carry with the name of religion, unthinkable, very sad. But, you see, we have to deal this, you see, gradual, step by step. And for long run, education. So we already involved with some scientists, mainly from America, some educationists. We already, you see, involved making, drafting about curriculum of secular ethics, with full cooperation with some professors, some university in Delhi also, like that. This long run, that's the only way to educate religious harmony and concept of oneness of humanity and global citizen, one world. These things are, I think, the long run. This is the method, you see, to reduce, you see, this violence. Then immediate, I feel, since several years, I suggested some Muslim friends, Muslim friend. Now, since these, unfortunately, these so-called, terrorists, you see, they are usually, you see, come from Muslim community, and the countermeasure for terrorism, stepping up more force. Not answer. These people also human being. The same way born from mother. And these also human being. The compassionate nature. So we have to try to reach out these little bit narrow-minded Muslim, and including spiritual leaders. You see, I think they teach, you should fight, we should kill, and then you immediately reach heaven or something like that. I think. So these, I think we should reach out. And then there's sufficient reasons. What benefit? Or even I think some of them maybe very faithful about Islam, about Allah, then such activities, whether you see help to create a good image of Islam or not. If there are these people, including those spiritual preachers, if they really love Islam, then their sort of activities are very, very harmful image of Islam. So not, you see, because of the negative way, struggle, make friend, reach out, then discuss. If the political reason, then something different. They use political reason, then okay, then they can fight, which made clear certain their sort of the goal or purpose should not carry the religious name. Okay, that's understandable. One occasion I was in Northern Ireland. I told there, Northern Ireland and because of the Northern Ireland Catholic and Protestant, some you see conflict. I told them, political reason, that's something different. If you want to sort of carry, or including violence, okay, you carry. But you should not use the name of Catholicism and Protestant. Use religious name is wrong, firstly, and secondly, very harmful. I told them. So similarly, I think, you see, we can share. I think those Muslim political motivation, that's different. But Muslim who is very much sort of motivated with religious sort of conviction, then their method is totally wrong, very harmful for Islam, isn't it? It is really damaging the real message of Allah, like that. So therefore, I think you, Indian Muslim generally, and particularly Ladakhi Muslim, now I think the time come, you should make effort. Some occasion I suggested the Ladakhi Muslims, you see, you come to plain and organize some Indian plain Muslim, Shia and Sunni together, and gradually some sort of, what's it, the groups or kasuri. Some form of kasura, form some group. Then maybe worthwhile. Firstly, go to Bangladesh. Some hardliner there, and make friend, and make clear their activities is very, very harmful for Islam. Then I think Syria too complicated. I think very, very difficult. Perhaps Afghanistan also is difficult, but I think worthwhile. In Pakistan also now, Pakistan and Afghanistan, then Iraq. I think you may start your base in Jordan. I have been few occasions, Jordan. They are a Muslim country, but with modern education, more wider perspective. So one occasion, I met some Kasajuti, Jordanian school, because of the student. You see, their dress like that. Some of the girl students, but the question is just similar. The Western world or different world. So education really makes differences. So I always feel after the September 11th event, actually I wrote President Bush, the 11th, it happened. The 12th, I wrote a letter to President Bush, since I know him very well. So I express, beside my sort of condolence and my sort of sadness, I also mentioned this problem, hopefully deal with non-violent way. I wrote. But then I think President Bush himself, wonderful person, a wonderful human being, but his advisor, I think too much confidence about American military power. No, over, I think, confidence about military power, and then use American military power. Then today's complication, I think that also makes some contribution. If at that time, the dealing with Bin Laden, more human way, should not isolate, consider another human being. Perhaps I think today, this serious sort of today, because of the gap, Western and Arab, I think maybe less. So, like that. So therefore, I think you should think with vision, not thinking only Ladakh. Then, you see, if you really want, let me know. I also involved. So I have many Muslim friends in the plane. Since, as I mentioned earlier, since a few years, I suggesting, appealing them. I told them, I am Buddhist. So in a way, generally speaking, or formally, I'm outsider of Muslim community. So now, same Muslim believer should take active role. Then, occasionally, I'm available. If they feel, you see, my presence some helpful, I'm ready. If necessary, with white hat, I will come. So I think that is I think the real method, you see, to tackle these so-called terrorists. So we need patience and determination and determination. Optimistic, right? Optimistic. I, as a Dalai Lama, as a Tibetan, you see, a lot of responsibility about Tibet, and very difficult, sometimes impossible. But I never lose optimism, because we have truth, sincere. At the other side, is always telling lie. You know, isn't it? Chinese propaganda, always telling lie. So that's a weakness. No, we always tell truth and more realistic approach. So we have truth. So I believe truth. So we never lose our optimism. So you also, now you see, trying to reduce this so-called terrorism and build good image of Islam. So our motivation is sincere. Our goal is truthful, sincere. So ultimately, we will win. So you should keep optimism, no matter how difficult it is. That's important. When optimism a little bit loose, then you should touch sword. With pessimism, anger, and fear, then use sword. Thank you. I really enjoy our discussion with Muslim brothers, sisters. Really. Thank you.